So what's interesting when you look at price in the UK is it's very much set by Aldi, and Sainsbury's and Tesco's are essentially following the price that has been set by Aldi. The challenge is that obviously Sainsbury's and Tesco's have a higher cost supply chain than Aldi, so to meet is quite difficult. It appears that Aldi is absorbing the margin impact, so growers are not necessarily worse off from some of these activities, but it is meaning that the consumer is becoming much more price focused, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Looking at Aldi in the context of the UK versus Australia, Aldi entered the UK in 1990 versus in Australia it was 2001. So it's a much more mature business in the UK, and it won't necessarily take the same amount of time to reach that level of maturity in Australia, but you can see that there's going to be a strong similarity between Australia and the UK. So what it will mean is increasingly in Australia, Coles and Woolworths being very cognizant of the pricing strategies that Aldi are employing and understanding how do they compete with that, given the fact that their supply chain costs are understandably a lot higher, given the higher amount of fresh foods that Coles and Woolworths sell relative to Aldi. So in the UK, as part of that, the Aldi model versus Australia, what you can see is in the UK, Aldi's more of a soft discounter, whereas in Australia, they're more of a hard discounter. So what that means when you say soft discounters, they're taking on some of those things that you might see in a more mainstream retailer like in Coles and Woolworths in terms of marketing, range, in terms of organics and so on, provenance claims. And you can see that there's a lot of that happening now in the UK market. And that is likely to play out more in Aldi Australia as well.
So this is something really interesting that we're seeing in Aldi, that they were the first to come out in the UK market with the 19p across all the core vegetable lines. Now, these lines are not terribly expandable in terms of consumers saying, well, it's a cheaper price, therefore I'm going to buy double the amount and eat double the amount, because you just don't, because they're the core commodity items. Well, what's interesting is this has really led the behaviour in Tesco's and Sainsbury's to react to this price deflation, and they have all matched. So in Christmas in the UK now, you go across any of the major retailers, even Marks and Spencer's to an extent, and they've all deflated their prices across the core veg lines, which is pretty interesting, I think, Chris, in terms of what we're seeing happening in the reaction to Aldi's growth in the UK.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about competition on the basis of price and people wanting to match the Aldi price. And if they don't match the Aldi price, they have a problem. It's understandable in the environment that we're trying to sell product before Christmas, but I just wonder how sustainable it is for the grower. Okay, it's not a price that we're going to see, through into the new year, but it just accentuates the issue of price competition in the market, which I think always kind of ends in tears, to be perfectly honest. It just isn't the way the market needs to be. And I have to say, Aldi can compete very, very effectively, because what they've been very good at doing, and this is true of Lidl as well, is of withdrawing costs from their supply chain, which they do extremely well.
We look at hard discounters in the UK, so you've got Aldi, you've also got Lidl, which is a similar but different offer to Aldi. We're seeing more consumers transition across or switch or have a complementary shop from a Sainsbury's, Tesco's in a hard discounter like an Aldi and Lidl.
Well, I would challenge your definition of hard discount, because I don't think these are hard discount stores. If anything, they're soft discounters. And this discounter idea is also something which I think is a bit of a misnomer. I think they're very good retailers of very good quality products at a lower price, and they're managing to, as I've said, do that price because their supply chain is more efficient. You are actually seeing now Aldi and Lidl undercut by really hard discounters. And they are essentially the kind of old-fashioned German-style discount store that you would find in Germany, that Aldi and Lidl used to be. We've got a Russian chain that's now starting, which essentially is just, I suppose, pallets of product that you can go and buy, mostly packaged goods, not so much on fresh. The fresh offer that you get in an Aldi or a Lidl I think, stands comparison with the best that there is in the market. They've been very successful at doing top quality, a smaller range of product, but a perfectly acceptable range of product. And shoppers can come in and come out of the store relatively quickly and find that they haven't spent a huge amount of money, but are getting good quality product all the same.